I'm 32 male, and I live a pretty ordinary life. I work in tech, live in a mid-sized city, and thought I had my personal life figured out. My girlfriend, let's call her G, and I had been together for 3 years. I'll admit, I'm not the most exciting guy. I like routine, simple pleasures like a good cup of coffee, and spending Friday nights watching documentaries. G was the opposite, outgoing, spontaneous, always pulling me out of my comfort zone. I thought we balanced each other perfectly, until I found out her idea of balance included lying to my face. It all started one Saturday, when G mentioned she was meeting an old friend for lunch. She called him Jay, someone she'd known since college. I didn't think much of it. G was a social butterfly, and just friends with plenty of people. Besides, I trusted her. Or at least I thought I did. Later that day, while she was out, I got curious. Not suspicious, just curious. G had this habit of leaving her laptop open on the dining table. I glanced at it and saw her email inbox open. Normally, I wouldn't snoop, but one subject line caught my eye. Photos from the cabin weekend red heart. It wasn't just the heart emoji. It was that I didn't know anything about a cabin weekend. Curiosity turned into something darker. I clicked the email. What I saw made my stomach drop. Photos of G and J, arms around each other, laughing on a deck overlooking a lake. Another of them toasting glasses of wine by a fireplace. One where Jay was kissing her cheek while she grinned at the camera. The timestamps? A weekend I'd been out of town for work. She told me she'd been busy with self-care, yoga, spa day, catching up on books. Instead, she was playing house with just a friend. I closed the laptop, sat back, and tried to think. My first instinct was to confront her the moment she got home. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I wanted proof. Undeniable proof, so she couldn't weasel her way out of it. That's when I started digging. Over the next few days, I became a detective in my own relationship. G wasn't exactly careful with her secrets. Her phone? Always unlocked. Her social media? Wide open. I found more photos, texts between her and Jay that left nothing to the imagination, and even a receipt for the cabin rental on her credit card. She'd labeled it business expenses in our shared budget spreadsheet. The gall. The texts were the worst. They were full of inside jokes, pet names, and plans for another getaway. One message made my blood boil. I'm so glad he's clueless, lol. I'd never be able to handle the drama if he found out. Drama? She thought I was some idiot who'd roll over and let her disrespect me like this. That was the moment I decided I wasn't going to just walk away. I was going to make her regret underestimating me. My first step was gathering everything. Screenshots of texts, emails, receipts. Everything went into a neatly organized folder. Then, I contacted a lawyer friend to ask what my options were. While we weren't married, G and I shared a lease, a joint savings account, and a dog. Untangling our lives wasn't going to be simple, but I was determined to do it on my terms. The lawyer's advice? Be patient, stay calm, and document everything. If G tried anything manipulative or retaliatory, I need a clear record to protect myself. So, I played the part of the clueless boyfriend while quietly setting my plan into motion. It wasn't long before G gave me an opening. One evening, while we were watching TV, she casually mentioned Jay again. Something about how he was going through a tough time and needed friends to lean on. I asked, though, what kind of tough time? She stumbled over her words, clearly not expecting me to press. Just, work stuff, she said, avoiding eye contact. I nodded and let it drop, but inside I was boiling. The audacity to bring him up like that, right in front of me, but I didn't let it show. Instead, I started planting seeds of doubt in her mind. I'd ask little questions, nothing too suspicious, about her day, her plans, her friends. Each time, I watched her squirm just a little more. Then came the cabin trip's anniversary. I told G I had a work trip that weekend. In reality, I booked a stay at a nearby hotel and used the time to execute the final stages of my plan. The first thing I did was talk to our landlord. Our lease was month to month, and I made arrangements to have my name removed without alerting G. Then, I opened a new bank account, transferred my portion of the savings, and locked her out of my personal accounts. The dog? He was coming with me. I wasn't about to leave him with someone who lied so easily. Next, I sent a message to Jay. It was simple, I know. No threats, no accusations, just 2 words. I didn't expect a reply, and I didn't get one. But the thought of him sweating over what I might do brought me some satisfaction. The final piece was setting up my exit. I scheduled movers for the day after my work trip, packed my things while G was out, and left nothing behind except the evidence folder on the kitchen counter. On top of it, I placed a handwritten note. Since you seem to enjoy playing games, consider this my resignation. You and Jay can have each other. Don't contact me. When the weekend rolled around, I checked into my hotel and waited. I knew she'd call when she got home, and sure enough, my phone lit up around 8 p.m. I ignored it. Then came the texts. Angry at first, then desperate. What the hell is this? Where are you? Please let me explain. It's not what it looks like. I didn't respond to any of them. I wanted her to sit with the reality of what she'd done. But the best part? I wasn't done yet. The next morning, I sent the evidence folder to her boss. G worked in PR for a company that prided itself on integrity and ethics. Her affair with Jay? He was a married client of hers, something I discovered during my deep dive. The photos, texts, and receipts painted a pretty clear picture of professional misconduct. I didn't stop there. I sent the same folder to Jay's wife. She deserved to know the truth, too. From what I'd gathered online, they had kids. The thought of her living in the dark while Jay played house with my girlfriend made my blood boil. G's meltdown was inevitable. By the afternoon, I was getting messages from mutual friends. Apparently, G had been fired, and Jay's wife had kicked him out. Good. They deserved each other, and the fallout. A week later, I was settling into my new apartment when G showed up at my door. She looked disheveled, like she hadn't slept in days. Can we talk? She asked, her voice shaking. No, I said, stepping into the hall and closing the door behind me. You can talk. I'll listen. She launched into a tearful apology, saying she'd made a mistake, that she loved me, and that Jay meant nothing. She even tried to blame me for being emotionally unavailable. That made me laugh, a short, bitter sound that shut her up mid-sentence. Let me get this straight, I said. You lied to my face for months, cheated on me with a married man, and now it's my fault? Do you even hear yourself? She started crying again, but I didn't care. You don't get to rewrite the narrative, I continued. You're not the victim here. You made your choices, and now you get to live with the consequences. She tried to argue, but I held up a hand. We're done, G, move on, and don't come back. I turned and walked inside, locking the door behind me. Her muffled sobs faded as she walked away, and for the first time in months, I felt at peace. Looking back, I realized how much I ignored the red flags. The late nights, the vague explanations, the way she always seemed just a little too attached to her phone. But I'm done blaming myself. I'm not the one who lied, cheated, or tried to gaslight someone into staying in a toxic relationship. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: trust your instincts. And when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Want more stories about karma hitting hard? Subscribe and stick around. You won't regret it.